Hello, my name is Iralil Skarning. I'm an advisor at Uloba, and I'm sitting with a background that is the official festival background with megaphones and signs saying strong, proud, and visible in the background, very tiny. I'm wearing glasses that are black and gold, and I have bangs that are slightly too long and uneven, and a black sweater. And I'm also in my manual wheelchair that is not visible in the screen, but I think it should be mentioned that I'm in it. So I'm here now to talk to Judy. Hey, Judy. Welcome.
Very nice to be with you.
For many, you are a very known name in the independent living movement. You were among the very first group of people that started the fight for the rights of disabled people in the US in the 70s, right?
Yes.
And we are very honored to have you with us today. First, can you describe where you're sitting and what we can see in the background?
So I am a white disabled woman who's 73 years old. We are in the foyer of our apartment. I have brown hair. I'm wearing silver hooped earrings. I'm wearing a purple t-shirt with a butterfly, and I'm using a motorized wheelchair. I have red lipstick on, and let me see, my glasses are red.
Yes.
And the background is pictures of family and friends and plants.
Great. I'm gonna go just straight into asking you about the term independent living. When we talk about that, what does that term represent for you?
To me, the term independent living really focuses on individual people being able to make decisions over our own lives. And I think the word independent for some has meant doing things alone. And for me, it's completely the opposite. My ability to direct what I want when I need it. And if someone has a need for support in decision making, nonetheless being able to have people that can help support that individual in determining what it is they want, how they want it, and when they want it. So ultimately, for me, it's the ability to make choices and to be able to live in the community as I wish. Working, going to school, socializing, theater, whatever.
Exactly. And that leads us into my next question. So why, in your view, do disabled people still have to fight for our basic human rights?
We as disabled people need to continue to fight for our basic human rights because, in my view, the movement is new. People have looked at disabled people as objects of pity, and have been through groups like ULOBA and other organizations around the world, really been relatively the first time that it is disabled people speaking up about ourselves and what we want as individuals and collectively. So people are learning about who we are, what we want, and how we want the same things as others. But sometimes we may need to do things differently. You know, if you use a wheelchair, if you're blind, if you're deaf, if you have an intellectual disability, learning disability, there may be various accommodations that you need. And in many cases, society is not really aware of what they are and what the benefits are. I think another issue is we still do not have both the unity within a cross-disability movement that allows us to look at the issue of rights and discrimination. And I don't need to be blind in order to be able to support brothers and sisters who are blind, and they don't need to have a physical disability. We need to have a basic agreement on what discrimination is. And I want to say another point that is very important has to do with the fact that too many disabled people do not define themselves as having a disability. Mm-hmm. So there are so many people who, if their voices came to the front, would enable us to be a much more politically powerful group. But because of fear and stigma and shame, that doesn't happen yet.
Exactly. I agree completely. And this is also what we're working for, not only society, it's also a lot to do with politicians and the people that we elect. And I don't know if you know, but this year the CRPD was voted down to not be incorporated into the Norwegian human rights law. And the politicians are still not getting it. So we have to figure out how to get the politicians to understand why it is important. And we also have to remember why it is important that we use our rights to vote. And the system in the US and here are quite different, but I'm sure that the politicians have a lot to say also where you are. So why is it still important to vote?
I mean, I think voting is the base of democracy. And, you know, while some might argue that you don't have to vote in a democracy because you're choosing to vote or not vote, I think that's ridiculous. And in the United States, there's been an increasing effort to both register disabled people as well as to help disabled people know what their rights are around voting. And as some of you may know, there's big efforts going on by some people in the United States, more conservative members, to reduce the ability for people to vote. And it would adversely affect disabled people. So many organizations in the disability community are involved with other civil rights groups to help ensure that these laws are not passed. We have obviously not been successful at this point, but we're involved in organizing.
Thank you so much for your wise insight and for giving us your time today. It was lovely to meet you, and I hope to talk to you again soon.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.